All right, guys. So, I want to talk about today the 2025 NFL draft, man. 2025 NFL draft and these picks that are going to bolster our Super Bowl champs. You see, we Super Bowl champs. And, I know a lot of people, may not be picking us to go back to the Super Bowl. Is not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to get back to the Super Bowl. But with losing all the players that we have lost, Howie has done it again. And I think we're going to have some dark horses in this draft class. Not everybody pans out. Not everybody pans out all the time. However, there's some picks that are going to be explosive. So let's go and explore how we're going to dominate another season as Philadelphia Eagles. Okay? So, with the 31st pick overall, the Eagles traded up to pick Jahad Campbell. Now, Jahad, he's just a dynamic pass rush, from Alabama. He's been known for his versatility. He excels in both pass coverage and in defense. And, the defensive coordinator and Vic Fangio, I know Vic is kind of envisioning him playing the similar role to what Patrick Willis played in his prime. Okay? He has speed, he has the instincts, and he's just gonna disrupt offenses. He's gonna make so many people upset. This kid, so we got Nakobe Dean is injured. Nakobe is gonna be coming back, and we could slide Jahad right in there, pair him up with Zach Bond, and let me tell you, that is going to be lethal, man. When you're talking from a linebacker perspective, check it out. So a lot of people, and this always happens with the Eagles because we know the types of players that we want. We really want the guys that are hard workers. We want guys that are not going to be drama filled. And then we want guys that are going to make it happen. And that's what Jahad Campbell is. He's a nice guy, 2-parent household, right? Raised right. And he was one of the top defenders, linebackers in the SEC. So who's going to stop him? Let me tell you, with his injuries, it's going to be fine. It's going to pan out. The Eagles have already checked this out. And like I said, for him to go in the first round, first pick overall, he was projected to be a top 10 pick in this draft. Jahad Campbell is a beast. And he's really going to help to bolster that roster. Say our linebackers, because the linebackers are going to be key. Think about Zach Bond running all over the place. And then you have Jahad. Man, this is going to be great. When Nakobe Dean comes back, all this is going to do for us as Eagles fans, all this is going to do is increase the competition. This is going to increase the competition. So, I'm liking this move. I'm loving it. And I think Jahad is going to be a stud, man. He's gonna be a stud for a long time to come. So I'm looking forward to that. All right. Now, our next pick was Andrew McCubbin, safety from Texas. Okay. He's at the 64th pick. That's where Andrew went. And, one thing we're going to have to do, this kid is really athletic, right? He's a ball hawk, man. He's a ball hawk. And look, we lost CJGJ, but this kid can turn into a CJGJ type player. Trust me. He has the attitude. He has the traits for it. And that's essential in today's pass-heavy NFL. Everybody like to pass the ball all over the place. Everybody talking about how Jaden Daniels is going to make the next step. But when you put a ball hawk like this, and you add that to the already young secondary that we have, Quinyon, right? Cooper DeJean, right? Then you got Eli Ricks. You also have what's the other Keely Ringo, okay? So and then we picked up a couple other free agents. So this our DBs are going to be solid, and you add McCubbin into here. I mean, it's going to be good. Now, okay, you put him in the secondary. There's going to be some competition, okay? This is going to challenge Sidney Brown. Sidney Brown's going to have to step it up. So we know that Sidney Brown goes 100% all the time. And the kid is great. Sidney is great. But now there's some competition that's going to be coming in, and that's going to level the playing field. That's going to level it up. So like I say, you always want competition in these spots. So these players can push each other. You want them to push each other. You want them to you want them to just fight for it. Okay. You don't want it to just be where it's one player is just dominant at the position and then there's nobody else, right? So you got to have that competition. I like what Howie's doing. He's adding competition so that these guys can fight for their positions and fight for their spots. So, that's how it's going to go. Now, let's look at some of the mid-round picks, round 3. Okay, we're building in the trenches and we're building depth. And that's what Howie does. We lost a bunch of players, but we're rebuilding, and we're rebuilding with solid players. So I think this guy's going to be the dark horse on the Eagles, and that's Ty Robinson, defensive tackle. Okay, picked Ty Robinson. Man, let me tell you, this guy is a powerful interior lineman, and he's known for his run-stopping ability. So guess what? Inside, you have Jordan Davis, who we picked up his 5th-year option, right? And then you talk about Jalen Carter on the inside. You have Nolan Smith coming up from the outside. And then you put Ty in there in that defensive tackle rotation. He's going to fill that spot where Milton Williams left and went. Let me tell you, it's this kid. I think this kid is going to be a stud in the NFL. I think he's going to be a J.J. Watt kind of player. He's going to be one of those guys, a defensive tackle that is going to make a big difference. This dude is big, huge, strong. He has the technique, right? And he could get in the rotation for major snaps. I'm pretty sure of that. Okay? So this defensive line is going to be formidable for years to come. And mark my words, Ty Robinson is going to be a beast. So just mark my words on that. Okay. Then we also picked up pick number 161. We picked up Samuel Munden. He was a former 5-star recruit, and he has speed and coverage skills. Right. So his background, he's just athletic. He's just an athletic guy. Those guys that you see out there and you just see, they're just athletic. They got the flexibility, and he has the flexibility as a linebacker. So, he's a big linebacker from Georgia. Do you add that into the Georgia boys? That camaraderie from Georgia is just going to continue to get better and better and better. And these guys, and I think in his first year he could contribute, but he's going to be a rotational player, and he's going to come along more in his second and third year. But I think he can make some plays. He can get in there. He'll be comfortable because he has some other Georgia boys that are there. They're going to pull him into the Georgia, the Eagle Dogs fold, and they're gonna make him feel comfortable. And once you get comfortable and you learn the playbook, he's going to be another one of the players that I think is going to make a big difference. Right. So now at pick number 168, we picked Drew Kendall, center from Boston. He has a high IQ, high football IQ. And he can learn behind the veterans, right? He could learn the ropes. You go into Stoutland University, you're gonna learn the ropes. So he's gonna be good in a backup. You see what happened to us in the playoffs with the injuries, right? And both centers having injuries and they gritting and grinding through it. So getting some depth at that position is really good. So Drew is gonna be good. He's not gonna play that much, but he's going to be coming in a backup role, barring some injuries happen, right? And that's what you want. You're building depth at a position. So overall, I think we're going to be strong there on the offensive line. He's going to Stoutland University. I mean, what you expect? What you expect? Then another candidate that we picked, number 191 overall, Milton Hines, offensive tackle from Michigan. Okay. Michigan players have been, Michigan, I've seen Michigan players get drafted. They were getting drafted all over the board. Miles Hilton, he's a versatile lineman. He could play any position, so he adds depth. Again, this is another depth position, and he's going to develop in Stoutland University. Coaching staff going to get him ready, and he's going to be ready to go. Okay, so, I'm pretty excited about that. Then with pick number 207, we had Cameron Williams. And Cameron Williams, he's been known, from what I've seen, he's been known for his size and his strength. He's a developmental prospect. I think he's gonna come along. He has potential. We're planning for the future. Howie is planning for the future. So he's planning on making sure that these guys are in Stoutland University and they are ready to go. So he's going to be another developmental type player that eventually can get on the field and eventually take over. Okay. So then we picked up with the pick 209, Antoine Powell Ryland. He was a former linebacker, turned defensive end. And, he shows flashes. He has flashes and he can adapt to anything, right? So he was a linebacker. Then he went DN. So he has the pass rushing skills, that can add depth again to the rotation. So that's what we want. We want players that's going to continue to add depth. They can learn, right? We wanted players that can learn the process as they go along and really get to the point where, barring injuries, we have the depth to be able to move and go forward. So I think, it was some phenomenal picks, that happened there. So in the later rounds, we would also pick number 181. We had Kyle McCord got picked, Philly guy. He has the leadership qualities, big arm. Again, this is going to be a QB factory, like what Howie said. He's going to make sure that we get, he has a strong arm, man. So, coming in, I think he's gonna compete for that third string quarterback spot. Local kid, so he's gonna compete for that, and I think that's gonna be good for him. I think that obviously the number 2 spot is already locked up. I think so, but anything could happen. I think Kyle is gonna come in and he's gonna add some depth again to the QB room. So that's going to be great. Also, I forgot Mac McWilliams. Mac McWilliams is a cornerback. Again, he's speedy cornerback, with a knack for making plays on the ball. So again, when you lose guys like, Darius Slay, and you lose CJ in that back end, Howie is smart, man. And he picks up these guys, and these guys turn into ballers. Okay, so we've been looking at that. So this guy, Mac McWilliams, is a speedy guy, and he's gonna help with depth in the secondary. And I think also he could be very instrumental in special teams. I think he's gonna make some things happen in special teams, and it's gonna be good for the Eagles. So the Eagles draft strategy was clear, man. We had to reinforce the defense. We had to build depth in the trenches, and we had to plan for the future. That's what they say. And so we selected some versatile players like Jahad Campbell, Andrew McCubbin. The team, we addressed our immediate needs, while also considering long-term development. So Howie has a plan, man. Howie is focused, the focus on the offensive and defensive line. This is going to ensure that the Eagles maintain the dominance at the line of scrimmage. And that's where it counts, at the line of scrimmage, in the trenches, man. That's been the hallmark of our success over the past couple of years, right? So, and also, as I mentioned, the selection with quarterback and cornerback, that highlights the importance of depth and competition. You always want to have competition across all positions. So, man, with these additions, the Eagles are very well poised to defend their championship and continue the legacy. I think this is not going to be the last that you see of the Eagles. So, we are going to be making some noise again. We're going to be a difficult out. We are going to again, and it depends on how the players come back. If they come back hungry again, wanting more, and man, you got Saquon, you got the offense rocking and rolling. I don't know what's going to happen with Dallas Goedert, over this time. There's been rumors that Dallas is going to get traded. Don't know what's going to happen there, but hopefully we can solidify that tight end spot. I mean, I think Dallas is solid. If they don't get rid of him, sign him to re-sign him 1 year. Get a 1 year contract out there, and then let's see what happens next year. But we do need some continue to have. He has a backup behind him. But I like Dallas, man. But I know he's 30 years old, and you gotta get some other players out there. So what I want to know is, which one of these rookies are you looking forward to seeing? Which one of these rookies are you looking forward to seeing, man? I'm really excited with all the rookies that were picked. I'm excited about, what Howie is doing. So, make sure you drop a comment right below. Don't forget to subscribe, click the icon bell. So whenever, I record these videos that you definitely get it. I truly appreciate you guys. Fly, Eagles, fly.